shop with the boss in the box. Fucking shop with the boss in the box. Fucking shop with the boss in the box.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby, that's right.
What's up, my friends? This is episode 108 of Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box. Man, I'm excited. Did you just see what I put on the screen just 30 seconds ago? Did you see that?
I sure shit did, and that was right after I made the comment of how pissed off I was about My Chemical Romance. But it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so if you don't know what we're referring to, ladies and gentlemen, we are official promotional sponsor affiliates for the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, October 7th through 10th, I believe. I don't have that paper in front of me. I'm the best hype man, pitch man ever. Well, you know, we got 2 days of Metallica. We had My Chemical Romance. They just canceled. But instead of My Chemical Romance, while they're not the headliner, we got the reunion of Mudvayne. Man, I'm stoked. I fucking love Mudvayne. Like, all through high school, it was the Misfits and Mudvayne for me. So that was one band that has eluded me all of these years, and I have
never seen Mudvayne?
Not live.
No.
No.
Oh, cool. So that'll be the first time you see them that we get to see them together.
Absolutely, because we will be there at the Aftershock Festival, taking pictures, talking to rock stars, and just having the time of our lives. And that is October 7th through 10th at Discovery Park in Sacramento, headlined by Metallica, and we got Mudvayne and so many more. But yes, that is fucking Aftershock, man. But this is also episode 108. I am the boss, and you are?
Oh, and I am. See, but Brandon, this is why I'm the pitch man, hype man of the group. I am one half of your humble, heavyweight, handsome co-host duo, the Lunchbox. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, that's only one word, capital L, capital B. Thank you very much. And of course, as Brandon started to allude to, I am joined, as always, by my wacky, wonderful, wavy, ridiculous, wombat-like, wubbable.
What is a wubbable?
Wubbable.
A wubble.
Like, lovable, but wubbable.
I'm not a Teletubby, goddammit. I know.
I disagree. You know, the belly and them TV screen fucking glasses say different. But anyway, he's Brandon the Boss Blacker. I'm the Lunchbox, and my screen just went out for a split second like it do sometimes. And oh my God, have we got a fun guest for you. And I'm so happy. He wanted to do this in person, but after my 12-hour workday, I can smell my fucking self right now. So, happily, we're on Skype. So, I'm going to steal this one for once because Brandon always gets to introduce everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, straight out of the 925 of Northern California, and fresh from a training stint at the Nightmare Factory in Hotlanta, Georgia, we bring to you the Bay Area's own dragon. And he's not just any dragon, he's the Rude Dragon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Rude Dragon, Phil Hobson, to 108.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Damn, guys, big put over.
Well, that's what we do. You don't be like, hey, this is our guest and he sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that'd be pretty cool. I would love to have a podcast where I just have like the worst wrestlers that I could find. Like, I mean, it would be really hard to fucking find them because you'd have to like be the one comment on the one YouTube channel that gets like 400 views every 6 months, and then you might get a call back on who you can hit up. And then when you call them for this kind of scenario, can you imagine doing the prep we just did over Skype with a guy from like Arkansas with like 3 teeth?
Yes.
That'd be rough.
I'd do it, dude. If you find me Hornswoggling Hillbilly, I'm game.
dude, like that guy with 3 teeth, he's like, hey man, I've done a death match or 2.
I wrestled in front of 6 people. We put it all out there, brother. We broke 3 car windshields, and I sold 1 T-shirt. It was a good night.
Hey
It
man,
was a great, the best night I had in the business.
those 6 people, 3 of them were my aunts, and 7 of them were my grandma. One of
Just
my
to let you
grandmas
guys
bought a
know,
t-shirt.
just to educate the fans, this accent is not exclusive to any one part of the country.
Just Arkansas.
Barry in Arkansas, first 5 minutes in. Good, great start, boys. Cheers. It's been a hell of a week so far. Loved. Welcome to be a part. I'm really happy.
Absolutely.
Hey,
What are we
welcome
drinking here, huh?
Welcome home.
I have a Newcastle Brown Ale, and before I put them over so heavy of loving this beer, I don't know why the fuck they changed their bottle, man. I'm pretty disappointed. It used to look really slender and cool and have like a really lighthouse almost design on the front, and now it's pretty boring. And I love the beer, but man,
Yeah, that Blue Star is not the same as the old one, man. Newcastle is my go-to as far as if I go to a bar that's got nothing interesting. If they have Newcastle, at least I won't be pissed off.
oh, you got a cold brown ale, then you're all set. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Newcastle was the beer that they drank in Daredevil that was on Netflix, and that was one of my favorite shows of all time.
I was unaware of that.
You know,
Yeah, big.
and it's a shame, man. It's a shame that Netflix just completely botched all of those Marvel series. Like, I absolutely loved I loved all of them except for the Defenders. I thought it was weak, but Daredevil was awesome. My favorite personally is Jessica Jones, and I say botch because they could have done more. They could have done a lot more with it, and they just choose to like shut it off after like 3 seasons, and that's not cool, man. Daredevil specifically, yeah, Daredevil, Luke Cage, like they all had a lot of potential to do more as a TV show, and the fact that they just like, all right, well, we're Netflix, so we're just gonna cut it off after 2 or 3 seasons. It's like, fuck, man.
I'm still writing about Santa Clarita
dude.
Diet.
Oh, I've never seen that, man. I can't relate to you there. If we're
Oh,
getting,
dude, you're
I mean,
fucking
like,
up.
I mean, like, isn't it shows about like cannibalism, right?
Zombie.
Okay, that's less interesting.
All right.
It's well, I mean, it's very. You ever seen iZombie or any of those shows where a zombie is more of a person? They just happen to have that need for human flesh.
No, see, that's not my shtick because, like, I have such a low. This isn't even character. I have such a low lack of empathy that if like anything was a zombie and still trying to be like, bro, look, like I know I'm a zombie, but like I have feelings. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're going down, brother.
Well, you should give it a shot. I mean, Drew Barrymore is still awesome and still gorgeous. And I forget Homeboy's name. His character's Joel. He's from Modesto.
Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, Timothy Oliphant's from Modesto.
Oh, no shit.
It sounds like it has a hell of a cast. I mean, if I'm being really honest, I'm a big U mark. You is the fucking show for me.
So you like those creepy guys? Okay.
Dude, hey, I think when shows are able to do, I mean, when shows, wrestling, any art medium is able to make you sympathize with someone who does such shitty things, I like it, one, because it's like it makes you contradict your own brain of like, should I root for this person or not? But like, I don't know if a lot of people do this like I do. I think with a character like that dude, it's like you can't I relate to the shittiest things I've done. And I try to relate it to like his perspective. And I've never killed anybody and I've never stalked anybody, but I mean, hey man, that you know of, like, but I mean, the real talk is that I think that it's a relatable show in the essence of what are you willing to do when you're very committed to things, and it's a really good show for me psychological wise. No,
I get you, because you talk about shows like Dexter, or one of my favorite moments of that that heel to face turn in cinema that you talk about. That to me, everybody shits on Rob Zombie's movies, but in Devil's Rejects, at the end, when they're driving into that hail of bullets, and you're just like, no, turn around, what the fuck? And all of a sudden you stop and you're like, these are some straight up serial killing, serial rapist, terrorists. But because that Officer Wydell was so psychotic that now you're on these guys' side. You've seen the family side of them. So there's a part of you that's just like, oh, wow, I'm rooting for the horrible people. Huh.
I mean, yeah, man. I think I can definitely relate to that. That scene is legendary in the essence of like when you're an outcast and you're a reject and you're a misfit, like you see those scenes and those become like scenes that get, you know, instilled in your brain, because you always think to yourself like, no one fights for my cause and nobody sees things from my perspective, and nobody I love that whole you know, rebel fights back, very hardcore, you know, brunt of the world, and that's where, I mean, that's where the character comes with me of Rude Dragon, man. I mean, I like to say it, I'm a fucking a cold 40 ounce of Mickey's personified.
Oh, like, real quick before we delve into the character of the Rude Dragon and your story, because I know it's awesome. Brandon, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking my usual. I still haven't bought any beer, man. So I'm drinking my 7 and Jameson, getting plenty drunk. So I actually brought the bottle with me today. So I think I'm gonna have a good time.
Right on. I'm drinking the last beer in my fridge, believe it or not, because I took all the others to practice the other day. I'm drinking Kern River Brewing Co.'s Igor Unchained Imperial Stout. Igor Unchained is the name of a classic climbing route in Needles in the Southern Sierra. The limited release in the Wild and Scenic series is a Russian Imperial Stout brewed with cacao, vanilla beans, and Belgian candy sugar, celebrating the pioneering spirit that is in us all. Enjoy life unchained, and the big point, 15% alcohol by volume.
Woo, boy, 1 beer is enough for that. Hey.
And it tastes good.
Wow. Hey, so just let everybody in the chat know, unfortunately, for some reason, I am not able to respond to anybody in the chat, so I will try to respond to you in audio format other than in the chat itself. So just let you, if you don't see a response from me in the chat, that's why I'm not able to do it for some reason. So,
and before we get to that, hello, Madam J. Hello, Carrie Brown. Hello, Jordan Marin Harrison. And most importantly, we can never forget Lenny.
All right, so we say Lenny. Have you ever played Red Dead Redemption, Mr. Rude Dragon?
Yeah. I played the first one to completion. The second one is like so fucking big and such a long game, and I as much as those were my favorite games for a long time, I have no time for it nowadays, so I only got so far into it.
Sure.
My kids started walking, so I had the same problem.
Well, yeah, I had the big old problem with Red Dead 2 where there was just nothing to do, so I just stopped playing it.
Wow. Wow, bold statement.
You just gave up on all the crazy things to do and got bored with having to ride your horse everywhere. And instead of being a real man and shooting things like everybody else does, you just, I'm bored. I got to ride a horse across the plains.
Oh, look at Boss being an intellectual, not just rolling around, throwing a rope around random strangers and dragging them until they die and throwing them in a lake.
Hey man, I'm more keen to sleeping with the stripper and then beating her up for her money afterwards. So, you know, I'm more of a Grand Theft Auto guy. What can I say?
You can do that in Red Dead, and Red Dead's got a better story.
Okay, I mean, speaking of real men, though, like, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's get down to the beginning. Like every guest, I got to ask that question, man. You know, you are a pro wrestler. You are a personified pro wrestler at this point. You have the academic and physical training of a pro wrestler. But where did that start? Not pro wrestling, but where did the love for pro wrestling come from? Where did you start that?
I think the first like time anyone ever asked me that, like I just simply said like since I liked wrestling since birth, because I have no recollection of when the interest started, because I can tell you that the very first match I remember watching, like that I can cognitively remember seeing and just dating as far back as possible, was the opener to I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember which WrestleMania. I think it's like 17 or 19. It's the opener which William Regal and Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
And that was the first match I remember ever watching from a dated standpoint. But the thing is I knew that I was hyped to watch that, so I had to have watched stuff before it. I just have such a terrible sense of memory from like such a like small child that like that's as far much as I can date back. I think where I started to really develop the overall desire to keep watching wrestling was not really from like, it was obviously from like SmackDown, that era of the Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar era, but it also came from like getting really random interjections of like independent wrestling and CZW and Ring of Honor and ECW, and never knowing what those things were, because like it's so funny being born in 97, because I'm born in such an era where everything that is important in wrestling I have to go back and watch. So everything that I'm growing up and watching and slowly seeing is just slowly influencing me. So like some people might not look at someone like Samoa Joe as being a childhood idol, but to me he's one of the earliest people I remember looking at and being like, that dude looks like he would fuck anyone up.
Oh,
and
for sure.
That's where a huge influence like from early standpoint comes from, is definitely like that Attitude Era. And then I gotta say, man, it was just so fun as a kid, like piecing together what era things happened when, and like having, like N64 games and being like, oh, I know the whole WCW roster, but I don't know when the fuck anyone wrestled anyone.
See, that's a very interesting perspective, because like Box and I we're relatively the same literally like the same age, so we grew up watching pretty much the same things, and our buddy Mike Vanek is a little bit older than us, so he knows all the old stuff. So like to actually hear somebody younger than us going back and watching the things that we grew up with is such a weird and interesting take on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. I mean, real quick, just to say on that, the biggest one, like, I mean, to me, the biggest influence that I have from wrestling is late 90s cruiserweights from WCW. So like getting to go back and see that entire era, that is something special. Like I if I could only go back in time and watch myself discover those matches, oh man. Like,
so who are your favorite from the Car Crash cruiserweight era?
I mean, Psychosis is end all be all my favorite cruiserweight.
Nice.
It's where I inspired the colors from the original mask. I love the black, white, and red design, but Psychosis is always my go-to, because one, he was like so good at being the heel luchador without having to do a ton of mannerisms that a lot of like modern heels do nowadays. I think Psychosis was really good at I feel like he did the Tully Blanchard heel method really well, where you don't need to necessarily choke anyone and you don't need to rake anyone's eyes. You just need to beat them up and you just need to bully them. And when Psychosis could do his power moves and he would power bomb the hell out of people, and the crazy high spot leg drops, like that guy is end all be all what I kind of thrive to be. And my character is literally just what I wish I saw as a kid, and all the people I saw as a kid, like Psychosis, Ultimo Dragon, Billy Kidman, Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho. Those guys are insane. I mean, I go back now and I get to watch a lot of Muda, and that's a huge person that like I resonate with a ton.
Yeah, I feel like people your age, and I'm glad that you go back into it because so many younger wrestling fans that we talk to don't understand the greatness that was Muda. The fact that the dude was a nasty shit heel, and similar to Psychosis, he didn't have to do heel things. He just had to be a badass, a bully, kind of mean, and just a little harder hitting than others, and have a sneer about it. He didn't have to do those things. So that's a cool influence, dude.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would say that the other influences that come in so strong for sure that I can't leave out would be I love technical wrestling. Like Zack Sabre Jr., Chris Brooks, John Gresham, Dean Malenko, Kurt Angle. Those men are some of the Mount Rushmore to me, just because technical wrestling to me legitimizes everything we do, because like is legitimately hard as all the other styles of wrestling are. I think when you can put everything aside and be able to be free in there and know exactly how the other person's body flows just like yours flows, and be able to put on some real beautiful matches. Like, for one example, the number one wrestler I want to wrestle right now on the independents is Lee Moriarty, because that man knows how to wrestle, and I just respect anyone who respects this craft, because this is a craft, this is an art. And I think the moment you stop questioning psychology and how you can constantly make things more legitimate and make yourself more legitimate and add to the ambiance of wrestling, not only to yourself as an athlete, but as a performer, then I think that's where you start really getting to that degree. And I love what all those guys bring in beyond their characters, but with the technical wrestling.
Hell yeah. And just to get a quick shout real quick. So Mike Vanek in the chat says, I have so much respect for this kid right now. He never says that about anybody. He is such an old school guy, and hey, nothing wrong with that. That we need the old school. We love the old school. But the fact that he gave you respect for your comments and your influences, that's big shit, man. That's big shit coming from Mike Vanek.
My third favorite wrestler of all time is Mr. Perfect, and I am 100% a Bret Hart over Shawn Michaels guy. I'm all about psychology and holds and technicality, my friend.
Whoa! All right. Let's have our first kerfluffle bedlam, as it were. I love good technical mat wrestling. Once again, Bret Hart in that regard was the man. Kurt Hennig is one of my favorite what if stories. Right behind Owen Hart and, what if Edge didn't have to bow out when he did. But I don't know, man. To me, there's something to be said about personality, and I prefer the stylistics of Shawn Michaels, even taking away the aerial assault, just the attitude, the grittiness, the fact that it was hard to buy to me Bret Hart being good enough to take out The Undertaker. I believe Shawn could do it.
The way I look at it is, to me, it's not necessarily a match breakdown thing. I mean, if we're really going to break that down, I still pick Austin versus Bret over actually, maybe that's not true. I would probably say out of both of their careers, my favorite match out of both of them is Shawn versus Kurt, but that's my love of Kurt. That is not necessarily my love of Shawn. I love I also love how people interact with this business, and I think you can make almost symbolism out of certain people's careers. I mean,
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
That's
why we play
I love
music.
Shawn Michaels, and he's such exactly like I love Shawn Michaels, and I love what he's done as a performer throughout his entirety of wrestling. But I think, like, when we're saying, when you say character and you bring up Bret Hart, I always kind of compare it to Michael Jordan never needed to do anything but tell you he was the best, and that's what Bret Hart did, and he did it all while wearing pink.
You know,
Biggest badass in the locker room wore pink. Fuck.
I will honestly say, I'm definitely a Shawn Michaels mark. I love me some Shawn Michaels, but I've always been a Bret Hart guy. I'm with you on that. Box knows that too. I'm always touting Bret Hart. The one thing I didn't like about Bret Hart personally was I didn't think he was good on the mic, like, ever. But, like, you put that boy in a ring, he's just flawless in every match he's in.
I think he got.
I think the promos shine in the Hart Foundation.
His promos in the Hart Foundation were great, but they were tag team promos. But
exactly. I
don't know, man. Towards the end of his WWF run, when he started to be the heel and be a little angrier, and some of his Team Canada promos were really fucking good because he brought up his real problems. He let everybody know how he really felt and just added a touch of showmanship to it. And I always felt like that was missing, kind of like, if we go into current day, Roman Reigns as a babyface had the shittiest promos. I didn't believe a fucking word of them. Roman Reigns now, I buy it because there's that fine. I don't have to be nice anymore. Fuck y'all. Like, that's not what they're making me do. Now I'm allowed to just be nasty about it. And I feel the same way about Bret Hart.
Yeah, I mean, look, the truth is to me, people like Bret Hart and Dean Malenko and a very select few other wrestlers embody a very strong work ethic and hard work, and that is really, like, that's the most thing you can admire, because in this business you are always working hard and you're trying to work harder than the next guy, and sometimes you just have to look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm not working harder than some of these other guys. And I look at those guys as huge people to always model myself after, because they didn't ever let other guys work harder than them.
Okay, so let's talk about working hard. So okay, so we kind of touched on where you started as a fan and where you kind of are as a fan. So as a wrestler, where did you start your training, man? And let's not talk about the big leagues yet. Let's talk about the little leagues. So where did you start your training?
So the very first training I ever got, period, was in the backyard of Rick Luxury's house
Nice.
in Antioch, California.
Yeah, dude. Rick Luxury.
Now, let me preface. This was a good small ring to bump in, because it was, I don't know, it just had something about it where it was a really good learning bumping ring. And I remember my first day I ever learned anything. I learned, like, all the basic stuff, like lockups, basic rolls, basic bumps, and then it started to be like, okay, do a handstand bump, do a flip bump, do a high school boy, do snap bump, snap harder. What are you doing? Snap harder, snap even harder. And I'm not tucking my chin for some of these guys. So when I went home, I remember I had never iced myself from anything in my life. But I was like, oh my God, if I don't ice my neck, I feel like my head's going to pop off. And it was one of the most excruciating experiences. But I remember specifically, like, learning that day, like, okay, you kind of just have to commit, and you have to really respect the form of this. And the more you do it and the more discipline you get, the better this all works out. So I took it seriously, and I kept doing as much as I could in that ring. And the start of everything for me was so off and on. It was so frustrating, because I remember being 19 and, like, training at the time, like, just starting and being like, God, I want to be so good at this by the time I'm 21. And it wasn't until I was 22 that I signed up for East Bay Pro because Rick Luxury was the head coach. And I knew from there that I was going to be able to get consistently good training from someone that not only cared about like my safety, but wanted to make sure that I could set myself apart and be an individual and not just go out there and just do hip tosses and arm drags, because that's great and fundamentals are incredibly important, but you also need personality regardless of how fresh you are in this.
Agreed.
So what kind of trainer would you say Rick Luxury was?
Rick's no nonsense, man. I mean, the truth is that Rick tells you exactly where you're fucking up and where you need to apply yourself. And I think the best thing about Rick is, besides the fact that he's nonstop lesson planning and watching things and researching to build lesson plans as a coach, he's asking me, what do I want to learn? And Rick Luxury is one of those wrestlers that can literally teach you anything, because he just understands the fundamentals of wrestling and how bumps work and how your body works and how you commit to learn these things. I mean, there's things that I don't think I could learn from other people unless I had learned them from Rick first. And they're very advanced things for as early on as I am.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Luxury's got the moniker of wrestling personified, and it fits.
It's the greatest moniker in wrestling.
Yeah, I've got to see him wrestle so many times in small venues, big venues, you name it, and the name is so fitting, so fitting. Every movement that guy does is just wrestling.
And if we can just real quick, just to put the man over one more time, because I don't think enough people do it from our area. The man has had his hand on people like Jungle Boy, Starboy Charlie, Juicy Finau, Thunder Rosa, and now myself. It's like the guy understands how to get the best out of certain athletes and how to elevate them to something that they might not have done before. And I think if you ask all those people, they can definitely tell you that Rick Luxury has made a huge contribution to them as athletes and wrestlers.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I've heard that before. I mean, I've seen some of the people that he's trained. Like, he's literally trained, I think, 14-year-old girl down in East Bay Pro Wrestling. And she's phenomenal. So, you know, it really takes a patient and dedicated person to, you know, get over the people that they're training. So with that being said, man, like, what happened? So I've been in your corner since day one. I remember when you weren't training and you're like, hey man, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm like, fucking go for it. I've been in your corner since day one. And the one thing,
100%.
The one thing I'm really disappointed in is you've already had matches, and I wanted to be there for your first match, and I couldn't do it because you were back east.
Oh, brother. I mean, well, okay. What I can say is if you would like to potentially see me show up and maybe rain on someone's parade, you might be able to do that on the 25th of this month at East Bay Pro. So, you know, I mean, you can stop by and I might come by and yell at somebody. I'm known to do that. I'm not a very rational human being. So if you'd like to see me put a lock on somebody and maybe snap it a little, you should show up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
And record that so your boy the box can see that, because I know I ain't gonna make that. I got too many obligations this coming weekend.
I'm gonna be
absolutely, bro.
I'm gonna be real, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna try, because we are filming a music video that same day. So I gotta.
Oh, I love the word try. Try means you'll put effort in.
Yes.
And effort is love.
All right. So how long did you say you spent at East Bay Pro Wrestling until you went to the journey that we're about to talk about?
So I signed up to East Bay in October of 2019, and I trained there up until March of 2020, and I think we all, some little thing happened and shut the fucking world down, but
Oh yeah, that.
just some small little, somebody flicked the switch, somebody left the light on,
Right,
But-
the damn bug got loose.
So
yeah, somebody let the dogs out.
Ooh,
fun
ooh, ooh.
fun fact. My professional job. I work at a school, and last year the school shut down and kicked everybody out on literally Friday the 13th. Okay, so now students are coming back to the school I work at tomorrow on 4/20. What is the irony of those dates?
Sorry, fifth graders, you can't get lit this year.
Okay.
Sorry to ruin your plans, bro.
Okay, so all right, so you spent a little over a year training, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, with the obviously COVID had shut certain things down. With when regulations were starting to allow very small, distanced, safe gatherings, we continued training off and on. I think during the summer, and it's like we did as much as we could with the regulations of what was happening with everything being off and on. And I collectively, from when I got the big offer in November, I was training, I'd say, about a year collectively.
Oh man. Okay, so at this point you decided to make a big change, and by that big change, traveling, a relationship was put down in some form or fashion. Like you left the West Coast to go to the East Coast. Like, tell us that story. How did training at the Nightmare Factory, who is owned by Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall, who you could find on AEW Wrestling right now. How did that journey start? Because this is the big story, and this is what we're extremely interested in.
Yeah, I mean, so it is in no exaggeration, it is the biggest opportunity I've ever been given in my life. I was legitimately days away from meeting my future boss at the time, and I was gonna have dinner with them and negotiate the club I'd be running. I did fitness sales before, committing to wrestling full time, and I was days away from not only that, but signing a new apartment with my girlfriend at the time of over 3 years. And I remember we were at her mom's house in Dallas, Texas, near Dallas, Texas, and I get a text message from a number I don't recognize, and it says, if you'd like information about the Nightmare Factory, go ahead and just give us a text back so that we can provide it for you. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take a look. Like, what is everything? And essentially that text was the acceptance. That was, you've been accepted, and if you can come up with the price and by the deadline, you're a part of the, you lock in your spot. And I was so overwhelmed with emotions, because I think one huge story of my life is a huge lack of opportunity. Not only, financially through work, but I wasn't seeing that I did not see a huge creative opportunity process coming to me from staying just wrestling in California or even really going to Texas, because as much as I would love to, consistently wrestle those places, I just knew that getting that offer was something that was, it's the college experience I never got. I never cared about school, but I've cared my whole life about wrestling. And I've beyond going, even if I don't ever go back to training at the Nightmare Factory, I plan to travel to Germany, to England, to Japan, to anywhere I can to consistently train, because this business is not about just staying in the same backyard in the same town. I don't know what other people want out of this, but I want to be like the people I looked up to. I want to be in magazines in languages I can't even speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Box and I are musicians, and it's the same mentality. Like, you can be a big fish in a small pond as long as you want. We can play the East Bay or Modesto 600 million times, and we could play to the same 40 or 50 people every show that we play, but the only way you're ever going to get recognized is if you get out of town and you put in that work. And that's exactly what you have to do, and that's what you're hitting the nail right on the head, man. Nobody gets recognized by staying in their own state.
I don't know any person I've ever looked up to who did not sacrifice. And the truth is I went through so much trials and tribulations in my life to never get those kinds of opportunities. To, like, when I did, I didn't care. Talk about a pandemic. It's like, dude, I don't care if the world was exploding. If that offer was still on the table, like, I'm gonna go for it.
Right. The experience is worth it. And one of my favorite sayings in life, people love to tell somebody who would get that text like you, "Oh, dude, you're so lucky." Well, my favorite saying is, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Oh, 100%.
And, not enough people, so many people that look at a successful person or somebody that catches a break think, "Oh, you're lucky." Yeah, I'm lucky in the fact that I prepared for this. And when the fucking call came, I dove on it, and I took advantage of the opportunity presented to myself. And to be called by the de facto number 2 promotion in the country. Wow, what an opportunity. And I think if, we had you on the show and you told us you didn't do that, we would spend the next 30, 45 fucking minutes making fun of you. I mean, we might do that anyway, but not for this.
Right. I mean, look, to quote the late great Nipsey Hussle, dedication, hard work plus patience.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's as real as it is, man. Like, I worked as hard as I could with every opportunity and every circumstance that was presented in my life. And the moment the opportunity was given to me, like you said, some people say, like, "Oh, you're lucky." Well, a lot of people have probably been lucky and have been called to certain places and then say, "Nah, I got this thing. I got this, I got that." It's like, it's not like I did not say no to every opportunity that I also had in my life at the time. I was days away from getting a new apartment with a new job in a secure relationship. I was living a different life 6 months ago, and committing and flying all the way across the country and now living there in a place I had never even visited has been literally one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life. And it almost seems like this year isn't real, because this has legitimately been one of the coolest, most rewarding years of my life.
I can't imagine it being anything but. And, let's delve into it a little bit, man. Like, so you fly across the country, you're going there. What happens? You get off the plane and then
Well, I'll start with saying ATL is the easiest fucking airport of all time. I don't know what LAX thought it was ever trying to be, but that airport is shit, and I have no issue saying that. And I love ATL's airport, and it's really easy to just get up and go and get an Uber and get the fuck where I was going. So I got there first out of all of my roommates that I was going there with. I actually roomed with quite a few of the other people that were in camp with me at the time. Really good fucking brothers. And when I got there, it was crazy, man, because like I'm flying over Atlanta and I'm landing and I'm like, there are more trees in this city than I think I have ever seen in one place. And I've been up in NorCal, and there's a lot of trees, but god damn, there's a lot of forest up in Georgia, and I never knew that. So it was kind of crazy, man. I mean, it was cold. It was a little, I got there in January. Or very, very, very end of December. And I'm like waiting there a few days, waiting for my other roommates to get there. We finally get our apartments all secure. I'm finally meeting all my roommates at the time. And, it's like, it's kind of weird, man, because it wasn't only just me getting ready for this camp. It's like me kind of like now furnishing an apartment and doing all these other things and like waiting for my diet to income. And it's all that. All the stuff was just a kind of a waiting period the moment I got there at first.
So what was the apartment part of signing with the Nightmare Factory, or was that between you and the other people who were going to the Nightmare Factory?
That was me and my guys. Like I asked them, are there other people that are asking for roommates? They gave me contact to those people, and then we set it up ourselves. The truth is like, this is not a I don't know if other, like, I don't think a lot of people would be surprised by this, but wrestling is not basketball or football where you have a full ride in some of these certain cases when you get invited to these camps. This is I spent half my life savings, taking this endeavor, and I don't regret any bit of it.
So go ahead and name drop some of the people that you roomed with so we can maybe check them out.
Oh, I
Maybe
got
send
you,
far away.
man. These guys are the best. So you got my roommate, Trip Jordy. This guy is a hell of a guy. Comes from Ankeny, Iowa. That guy trained out of Black and Brave before he came from the Nightmare Factory.
Wow.
So the guy is so polished. He's less than a year in the game, and guy I like to call him my yoked younger brother. Like he's he does his stuff, man. He's a great guy. That's Trip Jordy. We got Charlie Platt. Guy was a amateur wrestler. Guy's from South Carolina. Great guy.
Yeah.
Chris Martinez. He's from Pomona, California. A fellow California guy. He was the first to leave out of the wrestle house to go back home. We dearly miss him because he won't be back when we're all in Atlanta again, seeing each other. But guy's always a part of Wrestle House. Is one of the coolest guys I've ever met. Along with him, we had Brooke Havoc. Obviously, I don't need to really give you guys much of a bio on that person. Pretty big star. We see her as often as we do. Always going to Jacksonville. Real busy schedule.
I've seen her jump on.
Big Roman Reigns.
I've seen her jump on Dark a couple times.
Oh yeah, great. I mean, hey, let's not act like that is not the face of what was the Nightmare Factory. We don't have to talk about what's happening right now. We don't got to talk about that.
No.
But let's just go leave it at that. Along with that, we had Marcus Erics, who was huge pivotal person in my progress as a wrestler, man. Like I gotta say, Rick Lugged a lot. Marcus Erics has helped me so much mentally and helped me with so many things that are not just doing moves. Marcus has helped me understand this business more and how to conduct myself. And he took me under his wing at a time that was very, very needed. And I love that guy, and I'm so thankful for what he was able to help me with for that camp.
I've only got to shake his hand on a few occasions, man, but the guy just radiates fucking great energy. Like,
Dude,
and
he's such a workhorse.
Yeah.
Such a workhorse.
And it shows, dude. I've watched him over the last 4 or 5 years go from, like, you know, that chubby dude with the spiky hair to now he's a ripped dude with spiky hair. And he was always solid in the ring, but as he got in shape, my God, his movement just got fucking just dialed in.
I'm going to say this very legitimately. I don't know that anyone made more progress physique-wise than Marcus Erics for the Nightmare Factory Camp 2. That guy started looking good.
So let's get into the Nightmare Factory. So you fly in, you start getting your place ready, and then you walk into the factory for the first time. You know, what do? You know, how are you feeling? Who do you first meet?
So the first person we meet is Carolyn. She's essentially the facilitator of the factory, and you know, nothing, you know, doesn't go by her. She greeted us and got us all established and squared away. We waited and did a basic introduction of just, you know, getting in and out of the ring, and you know, saying a small thing about ourselves. The first bit of it, to be honest, that was really a huge shock to me was I didn't know that we were training in a facility that was so elite. Like, I can't even get into how incredible this performance facility was. I'm training at Chip Smith's Performance Systems, where Chip Smith is responsible for making Brian Urlacher a NFL Hall of Famer, and his first professional client was Dr. J, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Wow. So I was training in a facility that was founded by a man who absolutely understands how to make athletes better athletes. And I can say it very straight up. Out of every person who I roomed with in the Wrestle House, I'm the least athletic. I don't have a wrestling background like Charlie. I don't have a boxing background like Chris. Jared Tripp has prepared his entire life to be a wrestler and has never, you know, committed himself to vices so that he can be a great professional wrestler and athlete. Brooke Havoc was a great basketball player. Marcus Erics had been doing this for years. And Chris was a boxer. So all of these guys had amazing athletic backgrounds way prior to this. I only have athletic backgrounds in essentially yoga and plyometrics and conditioning. I'm an average Joe who's tapped into what I'm good at and slowly getting closer and closer to what I consider an athlete.
Hey, I'm with you, man. You know, I'm athletic in yoga and drinking whiskey, so it goes right hand in hand.
Big pose and breathe. Yeah.
So, like, all right, so you walk in, you meet Carolyn. She gets you all squared away. Like, so from what we see, as far as I remember, I believe they used the Nightmare Factory on AEW television for a few shows as they were kind of getting themselves squared away during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, you know, at the time I was watching certain things, but I had never really realized that until I went back and watched footage. But I believe, yes, they did.
Yeah, so when you walk in, you know, you get squared away. When you go to the facility, is that your first day of training, or is that just, hello, we're here, let's check out the facility, and then call it a day?
It's more, hello, this is what you're getting in for, and we'll see you tomorrow. Get ready for your, what was the word for it? It's essentially like a combine. It's a performance test to see where you're at on athletically.
It's tryout day.
Yeah, essentially. I do not know why the word's going to come to me the moment I end the podcast, but it was like how many push-ups, sit-ups can you do in a minute? How many squats can you do in 2 minutes? How many dips can you do consecutively? What's your 40-yard dash? What's your long jump? It's a lot of athletic things that are based around Chip Smith's training regimen. So
I was gonna say you weren't ready for that shit, were
you? Okay, so one thing that I did to get ready was I knew that I was going to be so weak upper body. I was like, I'm a twig. I have no upper body strength. I'm going to need to get stronger. So I did 3,000 push-ups in 30 days by just being so committed to like not being satisfied with only 10 and only 20. So I just had a notepad on my phone of every day, just like knock out 20, like almost every hour. And by the end of the day, like some days I have 150, some days I have 200, some days I only have 30 because I feel like shit. So it's like, I just got obsessed with it. So I did 3,000 push-ups in 30 days and started to do a lot of cardio prior to training. So it helped, but it was, 2 months of training is not going to get you prepared for 3 months of some of the hardest training you've ever done where you have to commit.
Man, I've seen Tough Enough. Multiple seasons of Tough Enough. Is going to a high performance facility like the Nightmare Factory kind of like Tough Enough without, the panel of judges per se?
You know what the closest thing that Nightmare Factory is like to Tough Enough?
What's that?
Me and my roommates yelling at the other people we train with quotes from Triple H when he talked to all those people from season 1. I can't tell you how many people would hit the ropes and we'd be like, do this for our business, Sean. Or someone would take a bump and we'd be like, it's a good bump, good snap. Like that scene of Triple H just dressing down all those Tough Enough people is like, we watched it every other day. It is like a Wrestle House like ritual. That video is sacred. Triple H with that super tight ass fucking black shirt and those jeans is sacred as fuck. That's what I'm going to be for Halloween this year.
I remember exactly what you're talking about. So, all right, so yeah, I think you might have kind of gone over day one where they just kind of run you around. Now, kind of give us an overview of the next 3 months. How did that go? What was the day in, day out kind of like?
Dude, I'm not even kidding. Like, there was a stint for a second where it was like, wake up at eat, go to practice, come back, watch wrestling, and just shoot the shit with the boys until, I don't know, 3:30, 4 in the fucking morning sometimes. Wake up at noon, try to get 2 meals in before practice, and repeat. Like, it was that for so long until we started being like, maybe we should start breaking this up every now and then. Like,
all right, question. What were you watching wrestling-wise? What was the library for you to pick apart when you guys would do those sessions?
So Trip is very heavy on a lot of very classic, legendary WWE matches. So he would definitely put on like some of the best Triple H matches, or Trip loves Seth Rollins, and honestly, as do I. Like, I love Seth's work, so we would watch a lot of his stuff. And it was Rumble season one time, so we just watched a lot of Rumbles. Like, he would throw on that. We watch a lot of AEW because I obvious.
Right, you're training at AEW. Like, you got to watch the product.
Exactly. I like to watch really garbage wrestling. Like, my favorite thing is to just pull up like world famous flea market, or just some of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life, and just enjoy the fuck out of them. Like, it was Rumble season, so I looked up backyard Rumbles and I found a company, and you know what? And I'm not gonna say they're shitty, because that's very disrespectful. I have a lot of respect for Newburgh Underground Wrestling. It is in a town of New York that is less than reputable, to my assumption, and they wrestle in, I think, a 14 by 14 ring.
Oh, so
And
small.
I don't know that I've ever seen such a small ring for such a big Rumble.
Yeah, some sardines in a can type shit.
Oh, dude, I would assume, like, on some real, and like, some people are gonna hear this and be like, "Wow, this guy really, like, is a joke." It's like, no, I take training very seriously. I don't watch a lot of product that I don't like from a fan perspective anymore. It's like, if I'm a huge fan, then I'll go out of my way to watch things. But I am very picky, choosy about that. So Unreal, I know probably more of the names of the roster from people from Newburgh Underground Wrestling than I do from, like, Ring of Honor. That's not a joke.
It's cool. I'm the same way, just because the fact that I can't deal with Ring of Honor's camera work. It's supposed to be better than that.
Well, look, I'm not even saying specifically them, like, as a product, because, like, I think what Ring of Honor does is fine, but the truth is like, I just like watching shitty wrestling. So you don't even understand. When I saw such a huge Rumble in a 14 by 14 ring, and I'm seeing legendary names like the Scorpion Assassin and Shadow Grim, I fell in love, and I'm like watching the King of the Mountain, Navon McDonald. I mean, they say that guy's a hell of a champ, but I don't think he can hold a candle against me. I mean, if we're being honest, I think I need to take a trip down to Newburgh and show Navon McDonald and David Lowell what's up.
So for those,
make sure you send them this link.
So for those.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not versed in the ways of professional wrestling, so if you go and watch a typical WWE wrestling match, they are wrestling in a 20 by 20 ring. And most independent promotions, they're either a 20 by 20, or they range from all the way down to a 14 by 14. And a 14 by 14 is really, really small. It's about the size of a small bedroom.
Look, I'm gonna say this: you can wrestle in a 16 by 16, a 18 by 18, and you can absolutely wrestle in a 20 by 20 ring. Like, all of those are fully acceptable sizes of rings. If you wrestle in a 14, and you know what? This might even be a 12 by 12. I don't, like, I'm not exaggerating that this ring was barely bigger than the ring that they brought Andre the Giant in for WrestleMania.
So,
like, I'm watching 6 guys in this ring, and all 4 guys are, like, laying on, like, in the corner down selling, and I'm like, someone's got to get eliminated soon, brother. This ring can't take, like, 10 people. I don't know what you're going to do.
You're going to need to send me that link.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
oh, brother, it's the greatest.
Dude, real.
It is the of, like, what I look for when I want to have a good time.
I think Box and I need to do a talking shop commentary.
Right, we need
episode.
to call this.
We need to call this one. We need to find this one.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't have me guest star, I'll be so upset.
Okay.
You're welcome back anytime, man. Like,
Trust me, I know the lore of this company. I can bring you in, brother.
See, I'm a very forward-thinking individual. I've always got the next step. Like, our whole post show is going to be me telling Brandon, "Hey, here's my next 5 ideas." And like, this is on the top of the list, and I had already thought we should bring you back anyway, but like, now we have a reason. Like,
dude,
now I don't even have to come up with one.
I promise this will not disappoint. You'll see this, and you will. I don't know that you will ever see a better backyard wrestling fed.
Okay. so okay. Let's take it back a little bit. Please send us that link after the show. Okay. So tell us about your trainers. who were your trainers? I think there's a couple big names in there.
So, all the trainers that we worked with when we were at the Nightmare Factory were Cody Rhodes, QT Marshall, Glacier, Ray, Luke Sampson, Baron Black, Alan Angels, Shoddy Lee, Preston Vance.
Oh wow!
A lot of really great people helping out, man. Not every single week, every person, but off and on every week. Touching hands, coming in, helping the guys out, and it was really, really helpful.
Oh wow! So you had like half of the Dark Order coming in and just helping train.
Yeah, like I won't go into like a ton of detail on some of that, but on some real, Alan Angels and Preston Vance are two of the coolest dudes I've ever met in the business, and it was really a pleasure to work with those guys, especially.
They look like them. One name that you said was very surprising that I found out about later when I was looking into your progress on social media is Glacier. What, like
Yeah.
like, where has he been? Obviously, he's a good brother. He's a friend of Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall. But wow, like how
Glacier is so Ray Lloyd is actually he's a Georgia native, and he works very closely to Dusty. Up until he passed away, and he's very close with them. And I gotta say, man, that was one of my favorite coaches, and that will forever be one of my favorite coaches, because that man made me think of so many different perspectives of why we think the way we do with pro wrestling. Like, to just put it very bluntly, that man made me think, like, you can't just think stupid in wrestling. You can't think that you're only supposed to do one thing. And like, he preached the importance of efficiency of moves, and he would, constantly tell us quotes that were so important to that what we looked up. One quote he shared with us is one he got directly from Eddie Guerrero. It's not what move you do, it's when you do them. Mm-hmm. Because it's all about working the crowd and entertaining the crowd. He also, I had never heard the quote, and I had never educated myself on it, but he brought up the quote from Bret Hart's Hall of Fame induction of "Give yourself up to loneliness." And I never had heard that whole speech. And on my plane ride back to California, where I'm currently just visiting family, I listened to it for the first time, and the quote of "Give yourself up to loneliness, work hard, and fear nothing, and life becomes less about what you learn and what you had inside you" is one of the greatest quotes I will ever remember for the rest of my life.
Damn. That's so
man.
deep.
You got shell shocked there, Brandon.
That was deep, man. Like I was trying to process what that means. Like I'm still.
Well, if you think about it, it's like, how you're going to react to things, and how you would be if certain opportunities happen to you. And it sometimes isn't always about going to, a new place and shaking a veteran's hand and listening to what they have to say. Sometimes the highlight of your night, the highlight of your week, the highlight of your lives are going to be when you go out there and you do something. This, like, in art, and especially I think you guys understand this, you take all the little wins you can, and they mean the world to you, because this is fucking hard, and being able to get those little wins makes this so motivating to keep going.
Well, I'm a big, if you didn't know, I do Motivational Mondays. I'm a big spreader of positivity, and I like to make people think. And oh man, my train totally derailed there. But
as you're trying to get people to think.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that. Oh god damn it! Like I said, it totally derailed. But it was about. I was basically alluding to the fact of sticking to your goals, and there we go. You talk about the small victories, and you got to cherish every single small win. One of my favorite sayings is that large goals are just collections of small goals.
Absolutely.
Told you I'd get it back. but that's
absolutely, like, had you ever told me that I was going to get to wrestle in front of Cody Rhodes, cut promos in front of Cody Rhodes, learn from QT Marshall, I would have told you like that's crazy. And the fact that I have now, and that I've worked with those people, and I've seen what their perspective is hands on for the way they think, and not only about how they wrestle, but how they look at the business, dude, it's priceless. Like, there's certain people that you meet in this business that's what makes this all worth it for me. So for me, the things that mean the most right now are the trips that I get to go on with my peers, and getting to take those rides, because I'm only going to ever be in my 20s once. I'm only ever going to be in my 30s once. So those really matter, of getting to share that time with those people, with people that share the same goal as you, because then you know that those people have your back just as much as you have theirs. And it's a real camaraderie and a brotherhood.
Yeah, and the fact that now that you've graduated the Nightmare Academy, you can put that on your social media. You can put it basically on the resume, and probably just wrestle anywhere at this point.
I mean, the big truth is, right now I've graduated. I would like more bookings, and I think with where I am right now in my career, whatever you want to call it, I'm not at the liberty to demand flyouts back to California, where I have the most notoriety currently, I'd say. But I'm really trying to get June and the end of May really booked up, so I can start getting the ball rolling, man. Because the graduation happened, and now I'm ready to start. I popped this Pringles can, man. I already ate the lid, so now I just need to get halfway down the can. I'm hungry.
We know that feeling, man. As musicians, we're like, all right, we got our set list dialed in. Let's go play shows. Let's book those shows. Let's go down the road. Let's get merchandise made. Let's get our website going. Like, let's just do the whole damn thing. So I know where you're coming from, man. And I'm wishing you all the luck in the world. So, like, being in that factory for 3 months. So what is it like now? Are like, if you're just in the area, can you just go back and like train? Like, how does that work now?
So currently, the way things are is the facility right now obviously is going through a bit of a managerial shift, for a lack of a better term. And I'm waiting on a little bit of the blood to, cool down, and better heads to prevail, and get a little text back to swing by and catch a workout in with the Q man. And yeah, I mean, I'm currently not planning on entering back into the factory unless I am invited, my friend.
Indeed. So, now, like, so what's next? You said you might have a little something. Oh, before I get to that though, they say never meet your idols, right? You got to meet Cody Rhodes. QT Marshall is just another, candle on the cake, so to speak. What was it like meeting those people? Was it a joy? Was it something in the middle? Tell me your emotions on that.
So I learned very early that wrestlers are just people.
Yes.
And that, like, there's very few people I mark out for. One of them, and it's just going to be hard not to. If I see Dean Malenko in the flesh, I'm going to mark out a fucking little bit. Like, that's the man. Like, how would I not? But with those two, no, it's like I was very awestruck in the fact that they were my mentors. And one thing I will say is, meeting Cody Rhodes is something that is incredible, because the man has such an incredible vision on what this sport should be, in my opinion. But beyond that, QT Marshall is the most underrated, most slept on, amazing coach I have ever worked with. And I gotta say that, like, as much as people like to think like, oh, well, you're just a student of Cody Rhodes. No, I'm also a student of QT Marshall.
Yeah.
And Ray Lloyd and fucking
And Ray Lloyd
and Chip
and Preston
Smith
Vance
and
and everyone, every fucking buddy.
it's the whole team aspect of it. You know, it takes a village, you know, to raise a child. Well, it certainly takes a village to make an athlete, and it takes a nation to fucking raise a wrestler.
Yeah, one last person I'd like to shout out real quick from Chip Smith is the main strength and conditioning coach we had throughout the entire 12 weeks. Ian, Coach Ian was insanely talented when it came to showing, you know, it's like, he doesn't need to hear it from me. The guy is trained with some of the top athletes in the world, including men like Colin Kaepernick. And I'm a very small fucking fly on the wall of what that guy has accomplished in his career. But he was so integral to making sure we were better athletes. And that guy was incredible to work with. So I got to give him a shout out too.
All right. So, I totally lost my train of thought, man. So what?
Train derailed?
Yeah, the train derailed a little bit.
Actually, here, hang on. I've been sitting on something for a minute. So you only really started training in 2019.
Yeah, late 2019, very end.
So a year and just a few short months later, you find yourself once again, as the term I used earlier, de facto number 2 company in the United States. Do you feel it's just coming so fast? Like, how's the speed of it treating you? Like, can you really fathom the depth of the ocean you've plunged into in this?
It gets a little, it's a shocking jump into the pool, but I'm a good swimmer. And the truth is that I think that, you know, if I was called to go to television tomorrow, I think that I can do well. And I think that the truth is this: if that happened and I was called and I was to go on to television, then I have then become someone who has wrestled on AEW Dark. If I then make it to AEW Dynamite, I am someone who wrestles on Dynamite. Just because I have less than a year in really has, you know, no dictation of what my capability is this far in. Brooke Havoc had her first professional wrestling match on AEW Dark, and I think for her first professional wrestling match, killed it and set the bar insanely high for what what very early on professional wrestlers are supposed to be able to hold their standard to.
What a rookie can do.
Agreed, because I know what her name is, and that was the first time I've ever seen her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So, you know, coming back to like East Bay Pro Wrestling and stuff like that, like that's gotta, you know, give you a good head on your shoulders to just kind of walk into the building. Not saying an egotistical head, but more of a, hey, I'm ready kind of head.
The last time I was in East Bay, I had chose, you know, before I left, I had chose to essentially pick working hard, because here's the truth. And this, I feel like this isn't said enough. When artists dedicate themselves to their art, we aren't just taking time and putting infinite time into an art. We're subtracting time to make a living, to pay our bills, and to get ahead and bump out our savings, and to do all these things that are a part of living life that we could choose to be doing. But the fact is this is what I want to be doing. And when the time came, I was choosing to go back to work and, you know, get an apartment and just try to become a better athlete. But when I got that letter, it didn't matter what my plans were. I was going to make sure that I made the most out of the opportunity.
Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So before we start to wrap up, we got to pay a couple bills here real quick. So Mr. Lunchbox, I'm not very good with money, but you know somebody who might be. Can you tell us about our little friend, Leilani?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself in need of a financial education, don't worry. Your boys at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box have a connection for you. You can contact Leilani Mosinski. That is Leilonimison. Financial professional. You can give her a call at 510-571-7215, or you can email her at Leilani. That's once again leiloni.wfg@gmail.com. License number 0M14654. You can also check out her website at www.wfgconnects.com/LeilaniM. She will teach you the rules of money, tax-free retirement, asset protection, college planning, principal protection, legacy planning, recession-proof industry, home-based income, small business exit strategy. She will teach you how to increase your cash flow and teach you about estate preservation. She offers a free financial education class and statement breakdowns, and for a limited time, she also offers a free financial consultation and plan. So once again, if you need help with learning to manage your money properly, you can contact Leilani Mosinski, first and longest running sponsor of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box.
All right. Also, with that being said, we have to shout out to Mike Vanek Sucks. If you are in a band or you need somebody or you just want to get your name out there, go hit up Mike Vanek. He will feature you on his blog and feature you on his websites, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be featured, check out Mike Vanek Sucks at yahoo.com and go ahead and text METAL to 865-824-6427. Tell them Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box sent you. And you know what? That's not all, because we have some friends in the chat as well who also belong to a group called the Bungalow Bunnies. That's right. Madam J is in the chat, along with the playful kitty, Tenzing the Metal Cat. Go check out, if you love wonderful ladies who do wonderful things for your performance, go check out the Bungalow Bunnies Burlesque Troupe out in the Central Valley. You can look them up on Facebook and Instagram just under Bungalow Bunnies Burlesque.
And lastly, just in case you are unable to join us Monday nights at 8 p.m. right here live on Facebook, well, no problem. We got you covered. You can listen to us in audio format on Gun Music Radio and Radio King. That is Gun Music Radio, independent underground from Southern Oregon. You can look them up on radioking.com/Gun Music Radio. That is GUNN Music Radio. You can also hear us on Radio King and the 5. That is the 5, the number, IVEXL.com, based out of St. Louis. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box has gone worldwide. You can hear us anywhere broadcast, that is over the interwebs, or we are out of there. We are out of St. Louis, Florida, Los Angeles, and even to our friends over in Europe, based out of France.
That's right. So we are international here at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box. But right now, we have Rude Dragon Phil Hobson in the house, and he has just told us his amazing story about training at the Nightmare Factory in Georgia, leaving the rest of his life behind, and dedicating himself to professional wrestling. Now, before we wrap up, every single guest that we have, they got to do one little simple thing for us. Can you do that for us?
I mean, yeah, I'd love to know.
Okay.
Sure, what am I doing?
All right, so we got a little guest who joins us every single week. I guess she's our little mascot. We got to feed her treats every now and then. Her name is Jordan Marin Harrison. Can you give Jordan Marin Harrison a quick shout out, please?
Hey, what's up, Jordan Marin Harrison? I think it's pretty cool that people say your whole name when they shout you out. So that's what's up. Keep that up.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Rude Dragon, Mr. Phil, whatever we call you today or tomorrow, can you tell these wonderful viewers where they can find you and where they can follow you?
Wait a minute. Slow down.
Whoa.
In addition to wanting to know where they find you, in pre-production you told us you are an extremely promo-heavy individual, and as you may imagine, your boy Lunchbox loves a good promo. So please, if you're going to tell us where we can find you, I would like to hear this in the full-blown persona of the Rude Dragon. So please, once again, Mr. Hobson, let them know where they can find you.
Are you done talking? Are you going to let me get to where I'm supposed to let your fans know where they can finally appreciate a legitimate professional wrestler, someone who goes out of their way to be a traveled professional wrestler? For you, I'll do it. You can find me at Rude Dragon PW. That's Rude Dragon PW on Instagram and Twitter. Those are the main places that you can find me. I have a Nightmare Factory showcase match coming up in the near future, so keep your eyes on that. You can follow me and get little updates. I also have a couple other projects coming up soon, and I am heavily looking to book up my summer in the Southeast, so you can find me at Rude Bookings at rudedragonpw@gmail.com. That's rudedragonpw@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. With that being said, I guess I will start to take us away. So, actually, Lunchbox, take us away with yours and I'll do mine.
All right, you can find my band, Nothing But Losers. That is Nothing But Losers on Instagram, Nothing But Losers on Facebook, Nothing But Loser, no S, on Twitter. You can find me, the voice of Blacklist Pro Wrestling, at Blacklist Pro Wrestling on Facebook, Blacklist Pro on Instagram, and Blacklist Pro on Twitter. Brandon, go ahead and tell them about you.
All right, you can find me on Instagram at The Real Brandon Blacker. You can find my band Suburban Paranoia on all social media platforms. In addition, you could find Giving the Devil His Due on social media as well, facebook.com/GTDHD. So go check it out. There's going to be some good stuff being posted very, very, very soon. I like to keep it heavy. I like to keep it metal. So look out for that shit. Also, look out for Suburban Paranoia. Brand new music video coming soon. Now, take us away, sir.
All righty then. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to episode 108 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, featuring the Rude Dragon Phil Hobson. Dude, thank you so much. I know you said it was a pleasure on your end. The pleasure's all on this side of the table, we can assure you. Now, for where you can find this show, you can find us at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Facebook. Don't forget to join the Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box Facebook discussion group, where we bullshit and shitpost memes about wrestling, Simpson shit, and all sorts of other controversial topics all day, every day. You can find us at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Instagram. You can also find us at shop_talking on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, where you will get to see the Boss Reacts, Monday Motivations, and every single episode of this show, starting from like 75 or so. And don't forget, most importantly, you can join us right here every Monday night for Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, officially sponsored by Gun Music Radio, Radio King, the 5XL, and currently, most relevantly, the Aftershock Festival.
That's
which you can see all these.
Yeah, that's
ahead,
right. Metallica, Mudvayne, Rancid, Volbeat, Seether, Social Distortion, Rise Against, Killswitch Engage, Anthrax, Limp Bizkit, Exodus, oh my god, there's so many bands. But go to aftershockfestival.com, go buy passes now, October 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, Discovery Park, Sacramento. So, Lunchbox, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we have a very special episode for 109. It is going to be called Trying Stuff with the Boss in the Box. Brandon and I have went ahead and purchased some snack boxes from across the world. And some point this week, we're going to go ahead and show you what's in them and let you guys vote out of the 22 items. What would you say, Brandon? 10?
Probably, yeah.
10 items that you can pick for us to eat and see how we react to. Hopefully we got some gross and or spicy shit in there, so that way you guys can laugh at our misery.
That's right. So come on back Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Talking Shop with the Boss in the Backs. Rude Dragon.
Yeah.
Rude Dragon, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been great.
All right. Good night, everybody. Take care. Be safe.